Okay, welcome back. I wanted to kind of add this little follow-up video segment here to the previous one that I just posted, and it's kind of an extended look at the film that I received back from our Copper Harbor and Superior North Shore, Minnesota trip. And I mentioned in the previous video that the light table can be overpowering and very bright, obviously in contrast to the slides you're viewing. And that's the purpose, is to backlight them so you can see your image through the slide film. However, I'm used to looking at 4x5s, so when you look at a 4x5, it's quite a bit larger piece of film you're dealing with. And I'd mentioned I'd also taken some pieces of construction paper and kind of blacked out the edges so I could really get a good look at the film. So what I did was I kind of went back through and I cut all the individual shots out of the roll and kind of picked my favorites. And I think you'll hear in this follow-up video a little bit happier photographer with the results that I'm looking at here. So anyway, I created a little jig here out of some materials that came with my V700 scanner. It's kind of like a Luan, not a Luan, but it's sort of like a Luan sheets. There was 4 of them in there, approximately 8 by 10, I'd say. And I kind of took some gaff tape and I taped together this window mat so I could place it over the film and look at it and see it with my eye better, and also see it with the camera better. And what I think you're going to see here is some better exposed images, that's for sure. So this, in no particular order, I'm just going to go through the individual clips. This was in Grand Portage, Minnesota, Lake Superior, and a little bay inlet there, harbor. And initially I'd said, you know, I liked the composition. I still like the composition. I thought it was a little dark over here in the rocky areas, but really this is a good exposure. I did not use a grad filter. I was worried my grad filter would cancel out any light I was getting here, and this was my subject really, is this little peninsula jutting out. So nothing's overexposed. Clouds are plenty of detail in there. Might not look so like that here on camera, but to the eye this area looks pretty good. Plenty of detail and definition and exposure here in the water and the shore. Did not use a polarizer, so I didn't cut through, so I'm getting some reflections. I've got to experiment more with the polarizer that goes with the Mamiya 7 II. Not as savvy with it as I am with my 4x5 polarizer setup. But again, you know, this is a fairly new camera. I've only put maybe about 5 rolls through it total here. So yeah, like this one. Yeah, it's pretty moody. Would have liked to have captured it when that sun was coming through and kind of highlighting this area a little bit more, these orange rocks in the water, but it kind of showed through. So yeah, I like this shot. I think it's pretty neat. I could probably do something with that. Okay, and this is Palisade Head, and this is again on the north shore of Minnesota, Lake Superior here. About a 400-foot drop down from the top of this cliff face where I was standing. No guardrails, So when you go out there, be careful, know where your edges are. Yeah, again, to the eye, yeah, this is a very nice and very pleasing exposure. Very, very happy with the exposure here. This was my brightest point, so I was metering for that. I probably could have pushed it just a bit more, but there's enough information and detail in here. And again, it doesn't quite show. I can bump up the exposure on the camera here just a bit. And that's looking pretty good. So that's a little bit more what I'm talking about right there. Yeah, I like that. I like that shot. I wanted to bring the eye in, follow the edge from the corner of the frame, and follow it around over here to shovel head point. Got some nice reflected light. This was actually not where the direction of the sun was. It was actually off to the west here a bit more, but there's a lot of clouds, so it really caught this area. And it's kind of neat, is it kind of creates, if you go through this image, if you chopped it in half diagonally here, you've got a little bit of a contrast of the lightness in the blue and then the purple and a lighter tone up here, some darker tones here. Nice detail here in all the white, I think it's white cedar and various different pines. This is the boreal forest region, so it's right before Canada, Canadian border. So yeah, I like this shot. Came out pretty good, better than I initially thought when I looked at it. This will definitely be scanned. Okay, Hollow Rock, and there was a couple shots of this that I stuck in the keeper pile because there's variations, different nuances I like from each shot, so I want to kind of look at them and see which one or at least two look the best. This was a twilight. This may have been the last shot out of the roll. I like this because you're getting a good silhouette here, and there's a nice bright tone in the water and also in the sky around it. So you really already have a natural area that your eye's going to flow to, and it's going to kind of travel up through these rocks in towards here. There's a nice darker swirl. This is kind of isolated. So tonally, I really like this shot, the way it's isolated in this area here. And there's some nice lines that are helping lead you in this way towards it. So that could very well end up being scanned. I like it. Okay, back this one down just a bit. So same shot, Hollow Rock again, a little bit brighter exposure, a little bit more color going on. Like this one too. There's definitely more detail here in Hollow Rock itself. You can see the orange lichen growing on it. And brighter shot. I like the hues, the nice soft blues and purples in the shot. Twilight, real soft here, the rocks again leading you in, soft water, longer exposure. So like this one too. I think there's actually 4 of these variations in the deck here. Not much different than the one we just looked at. Maybe, I think this area might, same amount of detail, maybe a little bit more detail here in Hollow Rock. Actually, I think you're getting more detail here in Hollow Rock itself, which is neat. That orange lichen growing up there. Nice grays here in the rocks. Color balance doesn't really show up exact on the GH3 as it does here on the slide film to my eye, but yeah, I like this one too. You know, I like this contour, this nice rounded edge of the shoreline, boulders leading in, real nice accent area here. This one will probably be scanned. Pretty cool. I like that, and I like this negative space, and you've got, you know, a little bit of dark detail here, then you've got this neat, you know, accentuated silhouette, and yeah, I like that one. So I'm sounding much happier with my results, and that's a good thing. Here's the fourth and final Hollow Rock. One of the first exposures taken in the sequence. And let's see. Let me back this bad boy down again. Yeah, somewhere in there. I want to try to show some of the detail that's here in the foreground without overexposing, but I'm getting some blinkies around the rock. Anyway, I kind of like it because it's moody. You've got this neat dark line kind of coming in here and some textured water, and then you've got lighter tones playing here and around Hollow Rock. You know, there's enough detail in the shadows here to get the eye up to the rock. It's a little bit, again, of some negative space. You've got this negative space in the darkness all around here, and then you're starting to get up into your subject area, and then you halo out again here. And that's golden hour light on the rock. So I like this one too, just a little bit different. And certainly okay to have variations of lighting on your images and present more than one from the same location and the same composition. Okay, this is from Copper Harbor in the Keweenaw Peninsula, Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Again, I was happy initially with this one. This is one that I could see on the light box without a mat around it, and thought that I was going to be happy with it. It's one of the two. So still happy with it. Got nice detail in it. I like, you know, this leading line that brings you up off into the distance, into these mysterious objects on the horizon. You know, I mean, this could be a salt flat. It could be, you know, a lake, which it is. It could be almost ice, mist rolling in. It's kind of hard to tell. It's very abstract. And I just kind of like the shape. Again, if you look at it, it's kind of yin and a yang, right? You've got your dark and your light area up in here, and some subject matter. So happy with that one. That'll definitely be scanned. Might want to crop that. Something more like that. I don't know. I can play with it. But happy with that shot. Okay. And we're still in Copper Harbor. We are back at Magnes Falls. And this one's going to be hard to really, let's see if I can bring up the exposure a little bit. So it's going to blow out up here, but there's definitely detail in the scan itself, and, or I'm sorry, in the slide film itself. So but I want to bring that up so you can get a better idea. Now again, not happy about this. This is a reflection that's pretty hot coming from over here. Not much I really would have been able to do about that, except for maybe grab an object in when I was making the exposure, wave it in front of the lens down here at the bottom to try to actually burn that a little bit darker so it wouldn't be exposed as bright. I can fix this in Photoshop. I can take the tones down. I kind of like, when I looked at it through the loop, I kind of liked what I was seeing in there. See if we can actually focus the camera in the loop. There you go. So it was kind of cool. You got this little rock at the bottom, this one, and this one, these three leading you off and towards the waterfall over here, and then these kind of swirls. So it kind of did hold its own. Again, this would be the only concern I have. We'll focus this back up. There. The only concern I have is this area here, and I could most likely fix that with a burn layer on a Luminance channel. I mean, you could definitely do some cloning in there too, but there's detail here, so you would see it. You have to be good at it. So I wish it wasn't there, but it is. But it's not the end of the world. Okay. So this one was, again, from Hunter Point, and definitely one I was looking forward to reviewing. Thought that this was going to be one of the better shots. And then when I looked at it, initially, this looked very dark. You can see the detail in there now. And again, when I put the loop on it and isolated it, you could definitely see that it was exposed correctly. So some plants on the rocks. You can see how dark the rocks are. They are dark, and then there's some lichen and other things growing on them. But it is supposed to be, so tonally everything did fall into place. Because again, here, this will be about the brightest. This is where I was metering. This is where I kept hitting the meter out here. And nice golden hour light on the island and the shoreline over here. Clouds doing some neat stuff. Real soft water, long exposure stuff. So that will be scanned for sure. Happy with that one. And it's good to be happy when you shoot film. That's for sure. I've had a lot of bad results. I'd rather have more better ones nowadays. Been doing this for a little while. But stuff happens. Okay, this was another shot from Copper Harbor. This was just east of Horseshoe Harbor. And, this could work. I might think about cropping it a little bit. Something more like that. I think the balance looks a little better that way. So maybe I should have used an 80 mil on this one or just gotten closer. But not much. I don't know. It's a nice sweeping motion. It does two things. It sweeps you in this way, and then these rocks also lead you out across to the point here. Sky is really nice. A little dark here. There's some detail along the line of the shore, but not the end of the world. It's kind of silhouette-y, kind of neat contrast. So I don't know. I don't hate it. Not the best shot in the world, but much happier with it now than I was half hour ago. Okay, this is back at Manganese Falls. And one of the tighter shots. And I like this one. This is one of my epiphany moment shots when I looked at it and actually got the loop out and looked at it masked out like this on the light box. And I was definitely happy. There's a lot of detail in there. Again, this is a 120 6x7 slide here. This isn't a 4x5 or an 8x10. So it's tough to show this up on camera, and it's kind of hard to see with the eye until you get the loop out. You look close enough, but there's a lot of great detail in there. The only thing that, again, kind of gets me down is this reflection. And my eye just goes to that. So a little bit darker here than the other shot, the previous shot. And I wouldn't have a problem either cloning that out of there or just toning it down by burning it. But yeah, I kind of like this one, that, you know, the large rock here in the foreground. There's enough separation and tone here and here. Maybe work on that a bit. But the eye kind of comes in through the stone, and then up here, some nice swirls coming out of the waterfall. And just really beautiful spot, really cool spot. So it's kind of like that fairyland kind of deal. So yeah, pretty happy with that one. That one will be scanned. There might be another variation of that in here because they were so close, but I can't remember if I sidelined it or not. Yeah, here's the same one. We'll take a look at it anyway. Same one, same shot. Same thing really, not much difference, not much variance. This would have to be dealt with here. A little bit different streaks in the water going on over here. So one of them is more isolated up the top. I think these kind of came out more, I don't know. I was back and forth about which one I liked better, but I like them both. So one of these will definitely be scanned. Looks like we got two left. Yep. This is the third and final composition of Manganese Falls that I took on that trip. So let's back down the exposure just a bit there, something like that. Okay. So yeah, I mean, again, I like it. This will probably be scanned. I may crop it, something more like that. My point of interest is really here in the waterfall, and then these lines that converge upon the waterfall. This kind of takes, this area up here is another cascade coming down, and it kind of takes my eye away from this. It's a little bit brighter up here, so I either would burn this down so it wasn't tonally distracting, or we would crop it out or something like that. That might be the shot right there. Actually, that looks pretty nice. So that'll most likely be scanned. I don't know, but I like all this too. I'll have to look at it, have to play with it. Okay, this is the last slide here. Which one? Okay, so this was Hunter's Point again, just a different variation. And I think chronologically this one was taken first before the other shot, before the golden hour light started coming through. And so you can see again, I'll iris up here a bit. That's pretty good. That gives you a good idea of what it'll look like. So yeah, I'm happy with this one. This one will be scanned also. Plenty of detail here in the foreground. on the rocks. You know, this area is kind of where the eye needs to flow. This is where the eye is kind of going to flow out this way and then this way, and then, you know, maybe swirl back around, but really accented well. Islands in silhouette does not bother me one bit. Got a nice little silhouette here on the shore. There's enough little light kissing it. You're actually getting some cool highlights. Neat clouds, interest going on. So definitely like this one. Let's see. Let's focus up. Okay, so you can kind of see some of the detail. There's nothing like looking through a loupe at slide film. It is just the best experience. It really, really takes you back to when you were actually there looking at it. I've never seen anything like it. And there's the shoreline over there. Very cool. So that is kind of a little follow-up video that I wanted to do. Just maybe to make myself feel better, because I wasn't ecstatic with the results. But I think I've got some nice shots here to work with. So definitely happy about that. And that'll be it. So thanks again for watching, and I'm going to sign off. If you like the content of this channel, or my large and medium format landscape photography, and would like to help contribute to my endeavors, you can do so by heading over to jasonrobertjones.com/patron and then clicking on the link. Or you can simply click on the Patreon link in the banner above on this channel. As always, thank you for your support, and enjoy the art of natural beauty.